I think when we first started it, it started as a very small idea with Harry and I scratching our heads going but felt that we could give more, and how could we do that? Every guy out there will know it takes a certain amount of motivation to get yourself going. So
Something huge is brewing inside Windsor, and even Palace insiders are stunned. Kensington Palace has finally confirmed whispers about William and Kate's new home, and it's nothing like anyone expected. What does this mean for the monarchy's future? Stick around to uncover every twist, and hit subscribe so you never miss out. For weeks, whispers have been swirling around Windsor, and the curiosity has been relentless. Royal watchers, tabloids, and even everyday fans have all been asking the same question: what's really going on with William and Kate's living situation? The speculation has been impossible to ignore. From gossip in glossy magazines to countless online threads, the idea of a dramatic shift has been everywhere. The chatter grew louder when rumors pointed to a residence with a scandalous past, Fort Belvedere. Its history is soaked in drama, and the possibility of William and Kate stepping into that space had people hooked. Was this the beginning of a new royal era, one dripping in symbolism and history? But here's where it gets intriguing. The palace has now spoken, and their statement turned those whispers upside down. What was confirmed wasn't the flashy residence fans had guessed, but something far more surprising, far more deliberate. And it tells us more about the couple's future than any rumor ever could. To really understand this moment, we need to rewind. Back in the summer of 2022, William and Catherine shocked many when they left Kensington Palace. That grand and iconic residence had been their base for years, a symbol of royal life. So when the couple packed up their lives and moved into Adelaide Cottage, eyebrows shot up. Why trade centuries of tradition and grandeur for a modest, tucked-away home inside Windsor Great Park? To the public, it felt like a puzzling downgrade. But for William and Kate, the decision was deeply personal. It wasn't about square footage or prestige, it was about family. Adelaide Cottage gave them proximity to Queen Elizabeth during her later years, but more importantly, it offered their children something priceless: a chance to grow up away from the constant flash of cameras. Instead of raising George, Charlotte, and Louis inside the endless spotlight of London, they were given a quieter, more balanced childhood. School runs became simpler, playtime became freer, and family moments became less staged. But as every parent knows, children don't stay little forever. With each new birthday, their needs evolve. Adelaide Cottage, though cozy and intimate, wasn't designed to carry the weight of the years ahead. The question wasn't if the family would move again, it was when and where. That brings us to the present. With Prince George reaching 12, a new chapter is knocking on the door. The idea of 3 children racing toward teenage years inside a relatively small cottage sparked endless talk. Many insisted that a more suitable long-term royal residence was inevitable. The rumor mill quickly settled on one name: Fort Belvedere. The estate is massive, historic, and layered with royal significance. Once home to King Edward VIII, it carries the echoes of choices that shook the monarchy to its core. For royal fans, imagining William and Kate reclaiming that space was irresistible. It felt like history might be rewritten, new royals restoring a place shadowed by old decisions. Its sweeping grounds and majestic architecture made it look like the perfect upgrade. Tabloids painted it as the obvious next stop, a step up from a cottage to something worthy of a future king and queen. But, as with so many aspects of William and Kate's life, the truth was more layered than anyone guessed. And when Kensington Palace finally addressed the speculation, it wasn't Fort Belvedere at all. It was something no one saw coming. After weeks of silence, Kensington Palace made its move. In a simple but powerful statement, it confirmed that William and Catherine will soon be relocating, but not to Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or even Fort Belvedere. Instead, they're heading to Forest Lodge, a residence tucked quietly inside the Windsor estate. Just one sentence of confirmation, but it sent shockwaves across royal circles. Why? Because Buckingham Palace has always been the symbolic heart of monarchy, the glittering backdrop to centuries of royal power. Windsor Castle, meanwhile, is one of the most historic royal homes, a place of tradition and prestige. Both seemed like natural progressions for a future king and queen. And yet, William and Kate turned their backs on both options. Their choice was neither flashy nor traditional. Forest Lodge doesn't carry the same dramatic legacy or grandeur as the names floating in speculation. And that's exactly why the decision is so fascinating. It isn't about spectacle, it's about strategy. Think back to Adelaide Cottage. That move wasn't just about downsizing, it was a trial, a way to test whether life outside London could work for a family under intense public scrutiny. And by all accounts, it worked better than anyone expected. In Windsor, the family discovered something they hadn't been able to grasp fully in London: balance. Here, school runs could happen without constant cameras. Here, the children could run across wide green spaces without headlines forming about every step. Here, William and Kate could slip into family routines without the pressures of palace grandeur. It became clear this wasn't a temporary experiment, it was a blueprint for their future. Forest Lodge is the next step, but it's built on the lessons of Adelaide Cottage. Instead of living at the center of royal pageantry, William and Kate are building their lives around family values first. But there's another layer here, one that's harder to see but deeply telling. Insiders have shared that the move represents a fresh start. For William and Catherine, it's not just about space or location. It's about leaving behind difficult memories. The last few years have been heavy with challenges. Personal struggles, public speculation, and constant pressure from the outside world have taken their toll. Choosing Forest Lodge is about creating space for renewal, about focusing on what truly matters: family stability and peace. In many ways, this move is their line in the sand, a way to reset, to carve out new traditions, and to show that even within the royal family, home can be a sanctuary, not a stage. And here's the most striking part: this isn't a temporary pit stop. William and Catherine are calling Forest Lodge their forever home. That single phrase carries enormous weight. It signals permanence, stability, and a decisive break from tradition. For centuries, future monarchs have gravitated toward Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle. Those spaces weren't just residences, they were symbols of power. But William and Kate are deliberately stepping away from that expectation. Forest Lodge represents something different. It's not about making a statement through grandeur, it's about making a statement through values. By calling it their forever home, the couple is signaling to the public and to the institution that this is where they intend to lay down roots, raise their children, and shape their reign. What makes this move even more groundbreaking are the details surrounding it. For one, the renovations at Forest Lodge are being paid for directly by William and Kate. Unlike past royal refurbishments that sometimes involve taxpayer contributions, this time, the couple is funding everything themselves. That decision is more than financial, it's symbolic. It shows accountability, responsibility, and a desire to avoid criticism. It tells the public, we are making this move on our own terms. And if that wasn't surprising enough, there's another twist. Forest Lodge will not house live-in staff. For senior royals, this is almost unheard of. Traditionally, teams of aides, butlers, and other staff lived alongside the family, keeping the royal machine running 24/7. But William and Kate are rejecting that model. By choosing privacy over palace staff, they're creating a home environment that feels more normal, more grounded. They're signaling that their family life comes first, even if it means stepping away from old-world customs. Imagine this: a household where the future king and queen handle everyday family life much like any modern parents. School mornings, homework, mealtimes, it all happens without a constant entourage of staff nearby. That's the reality William and Kate are building at Forest Lodge. It's a scaled-down, streamlined household that values independence and privacy. By limiting the presence of live-in staff, the family can focus on being themselves, away from the constant hum of formality. This choice may sound small, but it's revolutionary for the monarchy. It signals a shift from tradition-heavy living to something far more relatable. It shows that William and Catherine are not afraid to break patterns if it means creating a healthier, happier home environment for their children. And in doing so, they're quietly reshaping what it means to be a modern royal household. Step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Every decision William and Catherine have made around their home life has been deliberate. From Adelaide Cottage to Forest Lodge, from self-funded renovations to refusing live-in staff, none of it is random. Each choice is part of a larger vision. This vision isn't about tradition for tradition's sake. It's about modernizing the monarchy from within, reshaping it to fit today's world without tearing away the centuries of history that give it weight. It's a balancing act, one foot in tradition, the other in modern reality. And William and Catherine seem determined to prove that it's possible to live in both worlds at once. Think about it. For decades, Buckingham Palace was the ultimate symbol of monarchy. The grand gates, the balcony appearances, the endless ceremonies, it was the epicenter of royal life. Windsor Castle, too, carried a sense of history and permanence. But today's Britain is different. Society has shifted. People are less interested in pomp for pomp's sake and more interested in relatability, responsibility, and authenticity. By choosing Forest Lodge, William and Kate are aligning themselves with this new expectation. They're saying, we understand the world has changed and we're willing to adapt. That's not just a housing decision, it's a leadership statement. And this matters because William isn't just any royal. He's the future king. The way he and Catherine shape their household now will set the tone for their reign. It will influence how the public sees them, how they connect with younger generations, and how the monarchy itself evolves in the decades to come. Look at it this way. Most of us don't live in castles, don't have staff running our homes, and don't move from palace to palace. We live in houses where we juggle work, school runs, and family meals. By scaling down and choosing privacy, William and Catherine are narrowing the gap between royal life and real life. That's powerful. It makes them feel less like untouchable figures on a balcony and more like relatable parents who just happen to wear crowns one day. This shift is especially important for the younger generation. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis aren't just growing up as royal children. They're growing up in an age of constant media and global scrutiny. By giving them a quieter, more grounded upbringing in Windsor, William and Kate are protecting their childhood while also preparing them for the responsibility that lies ahead. It's parenting with purpose, but it's also monarchy with foresight. And here's the fascinating part. Every small choice adds up to something much bigger. Paying for renovations themselves shows accountability. Opting out of live-in staff shows independence. Choosing Windsor over Buckingham Palace shows humility. Each of these decisions chips away at the image of a monarchy that is distant and unrelatable, and instead builds one that feels closer to the people. But this also raises an important question. How far can this modernization go before tradition pushes back? After all, the monarchy has survived for centuries precisely because it leans on ritual, history, and continuity. Too much change could risk weakening the very structure that keeps it standing. Yet, too little change could risk making it irrelevant in today's world. William and Catherine's approach seems to be about finding that sweet spot, modernizing just enough to stay connected, while still holding on to the dignity and symbolism that make the monarchy unique. It's like walking a tightrope. One wrong step, and critics will pounce. Move too slowly, and the institution risks being seen as outdated. Move too quickly, and they could be accused of breaking away from heritage. The move to Forest Lodge is a perfect example of how they're navigating this. On one hand, it's a bold rejection of expected royal tradition. They're not stepping into Buckingham Palace as the world assumed they would. On the other hand, they're still staying within the Windsor estate, still tied to royal history, still close enough to the traditional centers of power to honor the past. It's change, but not rebellion. It's evolution, not revolution. Another layer to this bigger picture is public perception. In the past, lavish spending on royal residences often drew backlash. Taxpayers questioned why their money was funding palatial renovations. By covering the costs themselves, William and Kate are protecting the monarchy from that criticism. They're showing awareness of public sentiment and making choices that reflect it. That's not just savvy, it's strategic. We want to hear your thoughts. Drop your opinion in the comments. Do you see this as a bold, refreshing change or a step too far from royal tradition?